Hey guys, today I'm reviewing Alien Covenant. It's the sequel to Prometheus. If you haven't seen Prometheus, definitely go check it out. There's definitely going to be spoilers in this video. It was directed by Ridley Scott and released May 19, 2017. This movie is actually about the ship called the Covenant that's going to search for a new planet to colonize. And there's the crew on the ship and 2,000 other colonists. And when they're on their way, the ship goes through this little space storm, and it gets damaged, and through the damage some of the sleep pods malfunction and causes the captain to die and some of the colonists to die. So you see James Franco die because he's the actual captain, and his girlfriend happens to be like the lead protagonist, or ends up being the lead protagonist. So they start repairing the ship, and while they're repairing the ship they get this message, this transmission from this random location. So they follow the signal and it leads them to this alien planet, and people start getting infected. And that's where the real Alien movie that we all know and love starts. If you're not familiar with the Alien franchise, this is where people are getting confused with this movie and being turned off by it because they don't really know about it. So I'll give you a little bit of history about it. The very first Alien movie ever was directed by Ridley Scott, and then the second one was directed by James Cameron, and then the third David Fincher, and so on and so forth. So the fact that Prometheus is directed by Ridley Scott, the original director who did the first one, is dope, and so is this one. So is Covenant. So we're getting back to the original director who's the creator of this story. So we're getting the prequels now. And that's what he's doing. He's doing a prequel of 3 or maybe 4 movies that are leading up to his original film that came out in 1979. So hopefully that makes it make a little bit more sense for you. So Alien Covenant is the second of the 3 or maybe 4 prequels. Prometheus was the first, this is the second. With that said, let's get to my dislikes. What I did not like about this film: the pacing was a little bit slow. It went into a lot of detail in the beginning, and then it took a second to get into it. So that was a little bit like, all right, let's move along. Maybe we could snip a little bit off. My next dislike was the fact that there was too much Michael Fassbender. He played a dual character in this, which is commendable and is dope and tough in its own right for sure. But it kind of leaned a little bit too far into the annoying realm, where it was like too much, and I just felt like it took away from the film. And there's a scene where David is teaching Walter how to play flute, because Walter never knew how to create. He was never programmed to create, so he was teaching him the value of that and the satisfaction of creating. But that scene was just drawn out a little bit too much, and it was just like, what the fuck am I watching right now, Walter and David's conversations together were just a little bit long, and I felt it could have been snipped to where we could have got all the information without the boring, you're putting me into a daze type of thing going on. So the next dislike is I couldn't understand what Sergeant Lope was saying, played by Damien Bashir. His accent was just a little bit too thick for me. I don't know what it was. It's just maybe the soundtrack, the mix, I don't know. That just kind of bothered me because I wanted to understand what he was saying. At the end, the protomorph grew too fast when he came out of Sergeant Lope. It took mere minutes, like 3 or 4 minutes, for it to be full size. I'm not used to that, so that was just kind of like, all right, did we get that explanation? Did the protomorphs grow quicker, I'm guessing? With that said, let's get to the likes. The prologue, the whole opening scene with David and Peter Whalen was cool because it actually set up the whole movie. I knew it was going to play a huge part. I was like, this is interesting. We're sitting in a white room here, like a white vast room with the LCD screen pretty much going around the whole wall, and it's just like a creator talking to his creation, and a lot of metaphors going down and kind of setting you up for what would ultimately happen later on in the movie. David being obsessed with creating the alien, xenomorph, which we all know. James Franco dying in the beginning, like I said, that was actually a good look, because we don't want to watch Pineapple Express 2 in space. Next is Billy Crudup's character. His character was cool because he was torn between this reality and religion, really. He was a man of faith, and he was definitely guided by that throughout this film and realizes he made some wrong choices. Jussie Smollett was good in this. He's the young black dude who played like co-pilot, coordinate, stars nigga. I don't know. Like I don't know his title in this, but he was good and he wasn't incompetent and he didn't say dumb, coon shit like fucking Finn in Star Wars. Next, all the alien scenes were pretty on point as well. Like there weren't any corny scenes. I think most of the scenes were pretty, medium to high intense. In this one, we are seeing the evolution of how we actually got to the xenomorphs in this movie. This movie explains it a little bit to you, the whole genetic evolution of the aliens, that we all know from the 70s and 80s films. We got to see 3 different types of aliens, we got to see from the small versions. We didn't see the deacons in this one. We saw that in the last one because that came from the engineer. We saw the neomorphs, the protomorphs, and then the xenomorph at the end. So that was really cool. Daniels was good. She wasn't as good as Ripley. She wasn't a replacement or anything like that. But I think she did her part for this film. Hopefully the next one will have something a little bit different, like instead of like a disposable female, because at the end of this movie David ends up taking over Walter's place on the ship where he pretends to be Walter and he pretty much traps everybody in their pods, and now he brought some aliens back to the ship, so it's like shit, he's going to use them all to turn them into aliens and take the planet and make a whole new planet full of aliens, I guess. And maybe that turns out to be LV-426. Maybe Origai 6 will be LV-426 come the next movie, and that's where Ripley and them go to, and that'll be the setup for the original Alien, because that's pretty much what he's doing. He's just building his way back up to his own original film that was done in 1979 with Sigourney Weaver, that took place on LV-426 if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, I think he did a pretty decent job overall with this film, getting back into it from Prometheus. It definitely made me want to go back and watch Prometheus. I definitely want to see this one again as well. But anywho, I got Wonder Woman coming up next, and we got Spider-Man in July. We also got Valerian in July, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications so you know when I upload. And thank you guys so much for watching. As always, peace. I'll see you on the next video.
They said he wandered very far, very far.
Do we have the strength to carry on this mighty task in one night? Or are we just jerking off?